I have a live audience member for today's episode. Hello, dear. Hi, how you doing? Today let's talk about this press conference that's happening on the 3rd. If you haven't heard, the survivors of the Epstein scandal are meeting together in Washington, D.C. to hold a press conference where they're going to be talking about what they went through and sharing their personal stories and hopefully getting some justice, which we can't really trust our government to get for them now, can we? So, looking at the chart here, we have a Libra ascendant, which means our ladies are going to be represented by Venus. Venus is in the 10th house in Leo, and that is our ladies in public for the whole world to see. Everybody's looking at them. Venus in Leo, ruled by the Sun, that is in Virgo in the 11th house, so they're surrounded by their peers. And Sun in Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which is also in Virgo, but in the 10th house. So that is their press conference, sharing news, sharing information in public. And what's really interesting about this representing our press conference is Mercury is the apex of a yod, which means this is going to be a massive moment in the story, a massive development, huge. But what is concerning to me is what it's making a yod with, and that is Pluto in Aquarius exactly conjunct the IC and Saturn conjunct Neptune in the 5th house. So Pluto, this is the breaking down of the current status quo, so it can be built back up anew. And that is hopefully the end goal here, because this administration needs to be broken down and built back up again. And with it being in Aquarius, as we've seen in history, when Pluto's in Aquarius, the rich get brought down low, and the common man rises back up and changes the government to favor them again. But it doesn't always go in such a happy way before that happens. And who knows what's going to finally ignite this powder keg that's been just waiting to explode for years now. But will this press conference be that? I'm not so sure. It's going to be a big deal, but with that sextile from Pluto to Saturn conjunct Neptune, I am concerned that this is going to be this story getting hidden, getting distracted from. And so let's take a look at why I think that. And that would be because of the Aries descendant, which means Trump is represented by Mars in the 12th house. And this is really interesting. This is just like when I did that video for the Trump-Putin meeting, and Putin was represented by Mars in the 12th house. And what did I say back then? That that meeting wasn't going to accomplish anything. It was just going to work out in Putin's favor. Excuse me. And that's exactly what happened, wasn't it? So let's look at how that might apply here. I've 12th house Mars, that is hidden plans, that is hidden outcomes for the ruler of the descendant, for Trump. And what I think is going to happen is represented by the T-square here, with Mars to Moon in an intercepted Capricorn in the 3rd house and Jupiter in an intercepted Cancer in the 9th house. I think that Trump is going to completely sidestep this whole debacle by just having a completely different story happening at the same time that is going to distract the news from this press conference and have them all talking about something else. Now, what could he possibly do? What I think will happen is this is when National Guard is going to get mobilized to go to a different city. This is when most likely we see Trump mobilizing National Guard to go to Chicago against Pritzker's wishes. And that would be a huge story, big enough to distract from this Epstein press conference, unfortunately. Because Pritzker's already come out and said, no, we don't want you here. We don't need you here. If this happens, it is illegal. But we've seen in the past that they don't really care if it's illegal or not, do they? They went to Los Angeles against the wishes of the mayor and the governor. And so there's nothing that will stop them from just going to Chicago too. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Though it could play out in another way, the important thing is it's going to be a news story that is going to come out to distract from this whole Epstein scandal. And that's been the play all along, is to just try to distract. That's why we were doing the whole, oh, we need to investigate Obama with Russia. And then from there, it was then crime. There's so much crime. We have all the crime in the world. Never mind that we defunded all these organizations that were very successfully preventing crime. There's crime and we got to stop it, and only we can stop it. All that baloney. So that's what I think this is. What's really interesting, though, is that Saturn at this point will have moved back into Pisces. It will no longer be in Aries with Neptune. It'll now be in Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, but also is ruled by Jupiter. And so perhaps that will be the signifier that this will not work out in Trump's favor. It could really go either way. That's the thing with odds, is it's one way or the other. And usually the answer can be found in the opposing degree of the apex, which at this point would be 2 degrees Pisces. So perhaps Saturn moving into Pisces, away from Neptune and Aries, will signify that this distraction will not work as well as he hopes, with it now being ruled by Jupiter instead of Mars. Perhaps that distraction won't be enough. Perhaps it'll be something that blows up in his face. And with Chiron exactly conjunct the descendant, healing that has to do with the representative of the DC, perhaps it will work out, and ultimately in the favor. Perhaps this meeting will give us exactly what we're hoping for and what these ladies deserve. It's definitely an interesting time to be alive. Another interesting thing to point out is Uranus, which is sextiling Neptune conjunct Saturn and trining Pluto and squaring Mercury. So Uranus in Gemini is going to be the ultimate deciding factor here of what's going to happen. Uranus trining Pluto has been all about the truth coming out. When Uranus first entered Gemini and started trining Pluto, that was when this whole Epstein scandal blew up in the first place. That was when they, well, let me be more clear, not when it blew up in the first place, but rather that's when they tried to state that there was nothing to release and they weren't going to be talking about it anymore. And that blew up in their face and brought it back into the public eye, because they spent their whole campaign on tricking people into thinking that even though Trump was, Epstein's best friend and very openly bragged about how much they loved women, especially the ones on the younger side, somehow he was the one that was going to expose this pedophile ring that only Democrats were a part of. Come on, man. How can anybody believe this stuff? Obviously, plenty of people on both sides of the aisle are involved here, and they all need to go to prison. But somehow, the guy with the most evidence implicating him tricked half the nation into thinking that he was the only hero that could save us all from it. But that was when this first blew up in their face. And so now that it's playing such a crucial role in this chart, I started this interpretation thinking, man, it's not looking so good. But now, after looking at the whole chart, I didn't look at this chart before I started this video. I just popped it up and just started reading it live. So you guys got a good look into my thought process when I'm reading charts right now. But Uranus, man, something unexpected is going to happen, and it could be just what we're hoping for, but we'll just have to wait and see. What do you think? Be sure to let me know. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and if you want a reading, you know where to go. Bye-bye.